So all is looking pretty good. We, as always, making real good progress here. But you also notice something that's very interesting. Our code is getting larger and larger, even though it's not a big deal at this point. But we want to make sure that every time we are putting together pieces of our project, that we also refactor everything. That way we have these little pieces of code that can be reused at some point. And it kind of helps us organize our projects. So for instance, let's move this portfolio stateless widget, which is being called here, from our main. So the first thing we're going to do is click here, and inside of our libs where things are, what we can do, I'm going to right click first of all, create a new folder. Okay, new folder, and this is going to be screens. Like this is we're going to put all the screens. The other way you can do to create a new folder such as this, let me go ahead and delete this folder altogether, is you can click the lib folder and say Control-Shift-P or Command-Shift-P if you are on Mac. So Control-Shift-P for Windows and Command-Shift-P for Mac. And then you have this happen here. So this is where you can write certain commands to quickly get what you need to get to. Okay, so in this case, we want to create a new folder. So I can start typing new folder, or if you look closely, you can see that you can actually go down here and say new folder like that. Okay, if you hit enter, look at that. Now we have a way for us to writing the name of this new folder, which is screens. Like this, hit enter, and voila. And while I still have that selected, right, the screens folder was created, I do the same thing. So Control-Shift-P for Windows and Command-Shift-P for Mac. These are really good shortcuts that you should write down and memorize. And now I'm going to create a new file. So this file, I'm going to call this main screen.dart, and it's empty. So what we're going to do really is I'm going to get this entire class here. The other thing we can do, I can, instead of clicking here and go all the way down and copy everything, which I can do because it's not a large class, but I'm going to show you another trick. What you need to do is hover over to the left here, right before the line number, click that one, and then click somewhere below that. And then hit shift, right? Hit shift and hold, and then the arrow up, that will select all of that. And then I'm going to cut all of that. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to have issues, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and paste inside of this new file created. Okay, make sure it's a Dart file. All right, now we're going to have a lot of issues here. That's fine, because what it's happening, it's saying, well, yes, I'm a Dart file, but I have no idea what stateless widget is. The reason being is because we need to import the correct widget or library. So to facilitate our lives, you can just go ahead and click on stateless widget and say command period like this. And we want to import the material, hit enter. And just like that, life is all good. Okay, so now we have refactored at least one thing. I'm going to save this. Now we still have a problem here because this portfolio is saying, I don't know where this is. I don't know what this is because I need to import it. Do the same thing, click command, period, and we're going to use the first option there to import our portfolio. You can see now we have this web screens, main screen.dart. Okay, now if you save this, you see nothing will change. Everything will work the same, I hope. Looks like something is not right. Yep. Everything is still looking the same, which is good, but at least we know we have simplified our lives a little bit. Okay, we can even go further, go to main screen here. There's a few things we can do further, meaning, for instance, this text button here, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to separate or remove this one here, or rather, I'm going to also extract this button here because I want to reuse this same button. Okay, so I'm going to say command period again. And when you do that, you can say extract widget. Okay, I want to extract widget. In this case here, what is the name of the widget? I'm going to call this contact button, and it creates that button at the bottom here. And you can see it's called inside of these actions, right? Which means I can do the same. So I can go to our lib again, and I'm going to make sure that you have the lib selected, Command Shift P or Control Shift P for Windows. And then I'm going to create a new folder. This is going to be widgets. Okay, inside of that, the same thing. I want a new file. I'm going to call this contact button like this, right? And then, look at that, and come down here, do what we did before. I'm going to just select all of this, cut it out from there, and put it all in a new file. Oops, I forgot to add an extension. So let's go ahead and rename, say .dart. There we go. All right, and we are going to import material like that, and it's good. Now the other thing I'm going to do here, because I want to make sure that the text that we pass that says contact me is different every time. Now I want to make sure that this button can be used anywhere else we want in our project, right? So I want to customize it. One of the things you will notice is that these two buttons are pretty much the same. Correct. One thing that differs between these two buttons are the icons and the text. So I'm going to make it so that the icon and the text properties are indeed customizable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say at the top here, I'm going to say final, and this is going to be a widget type called text. I'm going to say string call button text like this. If you notice then that we have this issue here, it says all final variables must be initialized, but button text isn't. So what we can do, I can just click there and say command again and say add final field formal. So I said command period, right? I said enter, and it's added there, initialized. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing to our icons, so we know what icons we need to pass. I'm going to say final. It's going to be a widget. In fact, I can actually say it's going to be, sure, let's just make it a widget, a general widget, say icon. Going to be the same issue here. So again, command period, hit enter, and it's there. So now, once that is happening, I can then pass this here to say something like button text. And for our icon, let's see, it's going to be a widget. In fact, I can just remove all of this and just say our icon like this. Make it much better that way. All right, if we save this, we're going to have an issue because something has changed, because now our contact button has a few things that are required. So first of all, I actually need to import that. So do again command period and import that class. And then we need to pass a few things, because even though it's not required, all these are not required. We could have made them required, but that's fine. Now we can say something like this. Okay, to make it even better, I can say button text. Look at that. I want this to say contact me. Ah, very nice. And for the icon, I'm going to just pass some icon constructor and say icons.send sharp, right? Send sharp like this. Look at that. If I save this and run, we should see that nothing should change. Everything should come back like it was, and it looks great. Right? And the other thing we can do, let's go back to our contact button, since we have extracted everything, because ultimately we want to make sure that when this is clicked, something happens. But if we have more than one button all over the place, we also want to customize the function that is called when the button is clicked, because if we don't do that, then that means if we have another button, then it's going to, all of the buttons that we create are going to have the same function, on pressed function that it's called, and that's not what we want. What we can do to further our agenda here, or great agenda, notice here's on pressed. What I can do, look at this, we can say final and say function, because that's what we want to be passed, say on pressed like this. And we're going to do the same thing here, add that parameter there, and then here we just pass something which we're going to be passed. So say on pressed like that. Look at this. Now if we go to our main screen where this is being called, we can pass along something like on pressed. So now what we can do really is inside of our contact button there, passing all of these parameters, I can say on pressed, look at that, and I can say a function, something like this, and I can say print for now, hello world. All right, so if I save this, and I'm going to go ahead and open our console. To open our console, what we can do again, say command or control P, and say console, debug console, we can start typing, hit enter, that opens there. Let me clear everything. And now if I go here and click this button a few times, we should see hello world that is showing there. I clicked 5 times, that's why we have that 5 there. So it's working. Okay, so what we did here, it may seem very trivial. we refactored our button, which is really awesome because now we can call this contact button anywhere we want, right? In fact, look at this. I can call again this contact button right there and add all the things that I want. For instance, I can say button X, button text that is. It's going to say hello, like that. And I can say icon, right? I'm going to say icon, say icons.AC unit. Why not? And then on pressed, I can say something like this. I'm going to use arrow functions here and say print hello. If I save this, I should see yet another button there. Look at this. But here's the difference. If I click hello, it should say hello. If I click on contact me, it will say contact, or in this case, hello world. All of that, I didn't have to recreate the same button over and over again whenever I wanted to use it. So I can use this contact button, create or instantiate this contact button anywhere I want in my project. And I can pass all these parameters, everything, so to customize that button into whatever I want it to be. Isn't that great? Look at this. All right, good. Obviously, we don't need that. I just wanted to show you. And ladies and gentlemen, that is great. I hope this was helpful. And in the next video, we're going to continue with our project here and we're going to look at other things, other parts of this website or this web app.